guys, come out. Come out.
Let's go.
He predicted chaos in the ring. I think it sounds like there was chaos outside the ring.
Only a few hours before one of the biggest fights in his career, Daniel Dubois has been spotted partying, which is a staggering scene to look at given the size of the rematch that awaits. The boxing world was rocked after the incident, which allegedly occurred 2 hours before the opening bell against Oleksandr Usyk. Adam Smith objected to his protest against the fact that Dubois had the wrong attitude to the event, which was to be the fight of his career. He stressed that preparing for an undisputed world title fight requires focus, discipline, and professionalism. This made Smith puzzled as to why Dubois did not give himself the best advantage to win.
The pictures coming out, yeah, look, it's not ideal. In fact, it's just not really. It's not the way that I think you should prepare for an undisputed heavyweight championship. I can't see how his mind. Surely you want to give yourself the best possible chance. That said, he went out, he gave it his best, and he lost. He lost to the better man, and it was a case of levels.
Adam Smith did not shy away from admitting that Dubois has chances of recovering, considering his age and previous achievements in the field, but insisted that his future as a boxer is greatly reliant on his ability to shrink his inner circle. Smith also shared the negative perception of Johnson Nelson about the situation, and this is why it is inexplicable that a fighter can take part in partying before a world title fight, which is not professional at all.
He's a former world champion, and Daniel Dubois will come again at 27. But it's this relationship with his dad and Don Charles and Frank Warren, and they need to sort of sort that out, I think. I think everybody's seen it, and it's just very, very surprising. I've heard what my great friend Johnny Nelson has said about it, and you can't not agree. It's a very strange way to prepare for such a huge night.
Daniel Dubois' trainer Don Charles discussed the backlash of the controversial pre-fight antics of Dubois prior to the rematch against Oleksandr Usyk. He replied that it was not like a party at all, but a kind of event they were already acquainted with prior to other fights, including the day of the match between Dubois and Anthony Joshua.
Let's replace the word party with gathering. It was a gathering. Okay?
Okay.
Right. The same gathering we used for the prep on fight day for the AJ fight.
Don Charles also elaborated on why they are doing the so-called gathering prior to the fight between Daniel Dubois and Oleksandr Usyk, once again citing a similar procedure they undertook before Dubois challenged Anthony Joshua at the Wembley Stadium. He asserted that the same environment assisted in motivating Dubois during his walkout in the ring at Wembley, and his belief was that it was a positive influence in his psyche ahead of the bout.
A lot was made of the ring walk when Daniel walked out in Wembley. 96,000 people. A lot was made of it.
The Anthony Joshua fight.
Correct, yeah. And the energy that it was fired up.
It was.
That gathering at the home, the same home, was taken to the dressing room. Some of the Daniel's friends and his father's friends were in the dressing room for the AJ for the fight. That energy is what gave birth to the energy that everybody witnessed in the ring walk.
Aide Oladipo empathized with Coach Don Charles, implying that the move to have a pre-fight social event was more probably that of someone other than the experienced coach. Oladipo added that based on the experience and professionalism of Charles, it was highly unlikely that he could give a go-ahead or support such behavior, considering that it happened on the day of a heavyweight title match.
I actually think Don's in a difficult position here.
Very difficult.
Yeah, because I don't for one second think Don's deciding, as an experienced trainer, for his charge to have a gathering 3-4 hours before an undisputed heavyweight title fight.
No,
it's just not happening.
I don't think.
This was not even the post-fight error, but pre-fight arrogance. Instead of being intellectually and physically ready to face the most difficult challenge in his career, Dubois seemed to be in the land of illusions, in a pseudo-reality to be precise, where the controversial decision of the first battle somehow rubbed out the imperfections the prodigy demonstrated in the ring. When a rematch was formally declared, the air was that of unfinished business. Dubois had appeared to give up, or rather turn tail in the face of an emergency. In the previous rounds, he had already been letting that frustration creep in, squandering energy, lunging after wild exchanges, doomed by the composed steadiness of Usyk. Wondering at the actions of Daniel Dubois during his debut against Oleksandr Usyk, Carl Froch was very hard on the boxer. He indicated a common pattern, citing the example of Dubois choosing to remain down in the fight with Joe Joyce as a result of injury, and going on then to compare that with the controversial incident against Usyk when Dubois dropped because of a jab.
Daniel Dubois chose to go down. He's done it before. He did it against Joe Joyce, and he did have a fractured eye socket, to be fair to him, so he saved himself for another day. But he went down to a jab in the first fight of Usyk, and people are saying, look, did he quit? Did he not quit? Well, he went down to a jab and he stayed down. He waits till the referee gets to 9, then he stands up and walks back to his corner. So that's a quit. That's letting yourself off the hook and deciding not to go down.
Carl Froch went on to his appraisal of Daniel Dubois in terms of mentality and ring presence. Froch alluded that Dubois chokes under pressure when the contest does not present him with an advantageous position. In his view, Dubois seems to lack the inner strength to fight back when he is stretched to the limit. He indicated that Dubois can only succeed when he is strong, and he is a fighter who is not good at overcoming hardships.
But I got off the floor, and Daniel Dubois doesn't climb off the floor with any intentions of winning. I feel like he, inside his soul, he doesn't like the feeling of not being on top. I mean, Tony Bellew calls him a bully, like a front foot fighter. If he's on top, he's happy and he's landing shots, and he likes to be in charge, like most of us do when we're fighting. We don't like it when it's coming back. We don't like it when we're under the cosh. But you have to fight back.
At a time when the prize was too valuable to compromise, a chance at unquestionable immortality, Dubois was neither insensible, unconscious, nor physically weak, but showed no intention to beat the count in dead earnest. Its critics interpreted it as one more demonstration that Dubois cannot handle the pressure when not in charge, that he is weak in such situations. Quitting is not only unacceptable in this ruthless sport of elite boxing, but it also makes legacies. Carl Froch said he was surprised at the attitude of Daniel Dubois following his fall to the ground after getting knocked down during his rematch against Oleksandr Usyk. Froch added that Dubois was conscious on the canvas. He was not unconscious and disoriented. Dubois was actually gazing at his corner and the referee as the count was going on, and did not make any desperate effort to come up in time before the final count.
And actually, I didn't realise he was down. And he was conscious. He wasn't unconscious out cold. He was corpus mentis, as they say. He was looking at his corner. He could see the referee quite clearly was in front of him. 4, 5, fingers and voice loud and clear. And he was looking at him and looking at the corner. 6, 7. You've got to be up. You've got to be standing up and at least attempting to get onto your feet and convince the referee. Tell the referee you want to carry on fighting. This is an undisputed heavyweight title fight. He may never get this opportunity again. Why the fuck would you sit it out? In my world, you don't sit it out.
Tyson Fury commented vehemently about the story that claimed that Daniel Dubois gave up in his rematch with Oleksandr Usyk. Fury came to the defense of Dubois and lamented on the fighters he believed were jealous-minded enough to tag Dubois as a quitter in the heavyweight class.
I keep getting asked about this Dubois situation and all this quitting stuff and whatever else. Here's the facts. The facts are, young Daniel did his best against one of the greatest champions that's ever been, and it wasn't good enough. He come up short. He got put down twice. What do you want him to do? Die in the ring? There's no first place for getting battered and still losing. The lad did his best. He wasn't going to win the fight. He's better off getting out there. There's a lot of jealousy in boxing, especially when an individual's making a lot of money. A lot of jealous fighters slagging someone off who did his best and had the guts to get in there.
He brought to the attention that Dubois had the courage to take up the fight against Usyk, and that by calling him a coward, never considered the level of the challenge and the experience of the opposition. Fury put the scenario not in terms of failure of heart, but on a mismatch in boxing intelligence and implementation, and the critics are without sense.
Daniel, if you ever get to see this, chin up, son. Your dad's proud of you, everybody's proud of you. You've come from a kid to a man to be the world heavyweight champion and box at Wembley and in front of 100,000 people. You can't beat that kid. And if you ever want to do any training with a real straight man, come yourself to Morecambe anytime you want, kid. Because there's no jealousy here and there's no people putting others down who do the best. I call them dream crushers and jealous bastard.
The second fight had its share of major drama as well. When the bell rang, it was once again heavily in favor of Usyk. The script was the same. Usyk came out hard. His jab appeared to land when and wherever they pleased. And despite his strength, Dubois just could not get a grip. Usyk was able to move fluidly, and this intelligence made it difficult to hit Dubois accurately. Simon Jordan complimented the skills of Usyk and further insisted that he still viewed the Ukrainian as a unique talent. Jordan told TalkSport that his interest will inevitably favor the British fighter should he be pitted against a foreign fighter, although he stated that his respect of Usyk as a boxer did not diminish.
I was disappointed in the fight, and not because I don't admire Usyk, because people are misunderstanding my views. I think Usyk is a fabulous fighter, and if you fought him, I'd want you to win because you're British. If Daniel Dubois fights him, I want him to win. But I will always say you need to have your very best day, and that fighter needs to have a little bit off in terms of Usyk.
Jordan hoped that Dubois would improve since their previous fight and bridge the gap, but the rematch confirmed that the same problems existed. Jordan felt that Dubois had not stepped up on the big occasion, and he did not demonstrate any mental or tactical advances that could actually pose a challenge to Usyk on a championship scale.
But I was disappointed in Daniel. I was disappointed. I thought there was going to be more. I thought there was going to be more intensity from him. I thought that there was going to be less of a gap than there was between the two fights in terms of his first fight against him in Poland.
Lennox Lewis, reflecting on Oleksandr Usyk's dominant performance against Daniel Dubois, shared a calm but firm assessment of Usyk's standing in the modern era. As someone who once ruled the heavyweight division himself, Lewis recognized that Usyk's blend of movement, defense, and ring IQ set him apart from today's contenders. He praised Usyk not for brute strength, but for mastering the art of being difficult to hit and always in control. He said, "Usyk is the best of this era. He moves well, doesn't get hit, and he's elusive and hard to beat." Twist and decisiveness were met with pain. Dubois appeared powerful earlier in the contest, but was inaccurate and hesitant. In his early aggression, he did not have the discipline required against an individual like Usyk. All his cockiness notwithstanding, Dubois never had the versatility to cope with Usyk in terms of IQ and agility. Former cruiserweight world champ and popular commentator Tony Bellew was equally hard on Daniel Dubois' mentality. Having seen the performance and attitude of Dubois, Bellew wondered whether the young heavyweight had a passion for boxing.
I feel so sorry for Daniel because I just think he's a lad who's so regimented in his ways. He gets into fantastic shape. He's a proper machine, guys, and he's had a really good career. But I just think the question needs to be asked: who are you boxing for? Why are you doing this? And is it to impress someone? Is it to keep on the good side? I don't know what it is.
Bellew described a feeling that Dubois was simply mouthing the words, and his personality fell short of being what is needed at the top. According to him, Dubois might not be taking this career as his duty, but has been doing so under some pressure, maybe induced by his family or management.
Because he ain't fighting for money, guys. The boy's financially secure. He was financially secured a long time ago, to be totally honest. And I know that for a fact. So you have to ask the question, why is it? Because when he gets into these really hard moments in fights, that's when the real Daniel comes out. And the real Daniel doesn't want to fight.
Usyk appeared to enjoy the domination in the bout. He set the tempo, he set the ring geography, he put Dubois on his heels and in exchanges, and then slipped and parried with textbook perfection. It was not about brute force, it was about talent, the ability to tough it out and to never give up. Dubois entered the fight with a physical advantage, but the advantage never transferred to any benefits in the ring. This punch met with some power, though too scattered to make any downfall on the course of his fight. Meanwhile, Usyk accumulated his punches surgically. surgically. In a post-fight reaction on TalkSport, Spencer Oliver gave high praise to Oleksandr Usyk following his dominant performance over Daniel Dubois in their rematch. Oliver, a former British champion and respected boxing analyst, focused on the technical brilliance and control Usyk displayed throughout the fight. He noted that Usyk didn't just win, he systematically broke down Dubois with skill, movement, and strategy. He claimed he absolutely picked him apart, and that performance that he put in tonight was the best Oleksandr Usyk I've actually seen. I think that you've got to put him up there, man. That was phenomenal. Derek Chisora contemplated the bloody duel against Oleksandr Usyk of 2020 lasting 10 rounds, but the decision could have happened to suit the needs otherwise.
I won the fight, it was people in our arena. Because I fought him in
During
lockdown.
COVID, did you?
Yeah. Those,
And it started well for you.
No, I had to. So basically,
Okay, hang on.
He felt that the absence of a live audience during the pandemic had an influence on the atmosphere and the energy, which Chisora feeds on in a fight. Reputed to work exclusively on the racket of the crowd, Chisora suggested that the lack of an audience blunted his typical drama.
I would have
Driven you on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, when we're training, we're training to win 7 rounds.
Right.
Yeah. And then when I boxed him, I won 6. And the other rounds were a bit closer.
Right.
You know, even his managers came and say, "We thought you won that fight." You know, and I knocked him down, but they say it was a slip. Do you understand?
Derek Chisora even insinuated that it could have been an event put on by promoter Frank Warren in favor of the younger fighter, but the result indicated that it just was not to be Dubois' night. Nevertheless, Chisora did not write off Dubois. Even though he lost the fight, he claims that Dubois can bounce back and reconstruct his career, meaning that he still has time to mature.
But last time when he boxed AJ, he only had about himself, and his dad, and Don. You know, so it was not meant to be his night, but it was meant to be for him, because Frank Warren made this for him.
Yep.
You know, but would he bounce back? I believe so.
Derek Chisora took to commenting on the second defeat of Daniel Dubois by Oleksandr Usyk, saying that the former could have had a better situation leading to the fight than he actually did. Chisora even insinuated that it could have been an event put on by promoter Frank Warren in favor of the younger fighter, but the result indicated that it just was not to be Dubois' night.
Wembley paid money to come and watch Daniel win. Yeah? And he did not win.
Yeah.
Now Frank Warren has to figure out how he's going to rebuild him.
David Adelaide, while recognizing Daniel Dubois' bravery for stepping into the ring with Oleksandr Usyk, pointed out that the mental side of Dubois' performance held him back. He observed that Dubois was hesitant and seemed caught in his thoughts during key moments of the fight. Adelaide highlighted how Usyk's immediate control, especially with his jab, set the tone from the opening seconds, showing the clear difference in class between the two heavyweights. He said Daniel was thinking too much. Usyk established the jab from the first 30 seconds. It shows his level. Also, Adam Catterall presented a passionate salute to an impressive career of Oleksandr Usyk after the powerful performance of the Ukrainian against Daniel Dubois in the rematch. He emphasized the fact that the brilliance of Usyk was not only in his victories, but also in where and how he did it. Catterall emphasized that Usyk has gone into enemy territory, fought world-class fighters on home soil, and united whole divisions.
This guy was the undisputed champion at cruiserweight. He did it all on the road, beating all the best in their own back garden, unified all the belts. He's then come up to heavyweight. Now, the other weight jumps, £3, £4, £5, £7. He's jumping up £40, £50, £70, and he's demolishing guys. He's not just beating them once, he's beating them twice, and the second time, he beats him even more convincing than he did the first time around.
Not only did Oleksandr Usyk shut his critics up, but provided a statement heard across the ages, having taken Daniel Dubois to pieces, cementing his position as one of the most rounded fighters ever seen in the heavyweight division. Usyk showed the world what greatness is all about. A king-like footwork, time, and undeviating composure have made him seal a legacy that has effectively placed him in the list of the top dogs in boxing. This was not a victory, but a lesson. Hit that like button in case you reckon Usyk is the pound-for-pound king. Leave your ideas in the comments as to whether anyone could have it in them to remove him. And do not forget to subscribe to more ringside reactions, expert analysis, and the biggest moments in boxing. Today the bell has rung, but the debate has only begun.